I also think that there is an argument to say that our current House of Lords could be replaced by a citizens' assembly. So effectively a House of Lords, but chosen through sortition rather than appointed by political actors.
It's smaller than it is now, possibly.
Yeah, that's the proposal by the Sortition Foundation, working with, I think, 858 project. They want to reduce it to 300 people chosen by sortition rather than currently what it is, which is life peers and people from the bishops.
No life peers anymore.
They've
gone, haven't they?
Life peers you have, not hereditary peers.
Ah, sorry.
Life peers are chosen for life. And I think that was a really sad day, actually, this week.
Yeah.
People that have been in the House of Lords for a long time and their family going back for hundreds and hundreds of years. And regardless of where you come down on that issue, I think it's a classic example of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and you're getting rid of something good for the sake of thinking that it's the right thing. And I'm not saying that I'm in favour of hereditary peers, I'm not, but they had a stake in the legislative body that wasn't purely for it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was self-interest in the way that a lot of these politically appointed peers are. And I think that's a real concern. And I think if you get rid of something, particularly something that old, you've got to have a really solid plan and a great proposal to replace it. And I don't think they do.
I think it was done in a very shoddy way as well.
So this could be a potential proposal for that. And I'm open to that idea. Now, the Sortition Foundation, which are financially backing the Greater Manchester Citizens Assembly campaign, which I went to the meeting for, they've got a video explaining this idea for replacing the House of Lords with a Citizens Assembly. I have some issues with it, though, because I think it's ideological in the sense that they're making pleas for, all these lords that don't know what they're doing. We need plumbers in there. We need bakers. We need, and I think it's appealing to one side of the political spectrum, typically the left.
Yeah.
And this is what I noticed in that meeting, that they were making assumptions that people on the right just wouldn't agree with.
I mean, it's interesting that plumbers and bakers tend to be self-employed, and they tend to be actually more right-wing than people who are public service workers, for example, interestingly. You always pick bakers now, don't you?
Because the BFAWU.
Yeah, I think you feel you've got a real stake in the whole
Can
baking
I join
profession.
the BFAWU without being a baker? It's the Bakers Food and Allied Workers Union.
Correct. Yes, I think you probably could. I think we could make a request on your behalf. Certainly.
I wonder if anyone has ever become has taken on a role just so that they can justify their belonging to a union.
I think they have, certainly, if they have ambitions to be General Secretary.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That could be my life goal. So they were, a couple of things. They said, when they choose the citizens' assemblies, when they sort of people, and they'll pick them randomly and then go to their houses, knock on their door, so that the idea of that is that you're not favouring people that are likely to be responsive to, emails or whatever, letters in the post.
Yeah.
But you actually speak to somebody in person and can explain it, which sounds great. They said, and this is often the case for Citizens' Assembly, I was going to say gender, but I'm worried about using that word with you. Gender,
Sex.
Race, ethnicity, all taken into account. I think age might be taken into account to get a fair representation. Now, I'm of the opinion that I don't think just because somebody is 30 years old, as I am, that they're going to have a better idea of what is good for me and therefore the country as somebody that's 70 or 80.
Agreed.
I don't think that a person of one ethnicity is going to speak for all of that ethnicity.
Yeah.
And people might say, well, you need to make sure you have a fair representation across the board. Absolutely. Make it random.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the point.
Randomness would do exactly that, wouldn't it?
And you might end up with more of one ethnicity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I suppose one of the things is I think you might have said at one point you take the electoral roll. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people not on the electoral roll.
Yes.
And you'd want them to be included, wouldn't you? So I guess where do you get the list of all the people from?
No, but I don't think I would. I'm happy to do it off the electoral roll.
Are you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So those people who have decided not that, for example, that there's nobody I can vote for, so I won't be on the electoral roll.
But like an awful lot of people are on the electoral roll that have decided there's no one they can vote for. The majority in my constituency at the last election were on the electoral roll. So majority of people were on the electoral roll but didn't vote.
But I would say that of the people who are not on the electoral roll, they might well have views and characteristics that are different to people on it.
Yeah, so join the electoral roll.
Okay.
There has to be I think there has to be a point. You can't be too idealistic about these things. There has to be a moment where you say it's up to you to participate.
Okay.
And we'll try and make that as fair as possible. But otherwise, you're then trying to find even more ways of reaching people. And I think you then run into the risk of, as making a case for being libertarian at the first half of this, that you have to have some sort of database and you have to track these things. And I think if people don't want to be found and they don't want to be on the electoral roll, then so be it.
Okay. All right. Okay.